All right, so taking a look here at number 22 and 23, again, we're still right in the middle of that factoring the trinomial completely. So let's go ahead and rewrite 22 out to the side here so we have some more room to work with. Oops, minus 4x plus 60. All right, so again, those two questions that we always want to ask ourselves with every single factoring problem. Is there a GCF? Is question one. And while there's not a GCF, if you'll recall from a previous video, we talked about you do not want to factor a trinomial when the leading term here, this leading squared term, is negative. So let's go ahead and factor out a -1 as our GCF. So if we take out a negative, then what we're left with is now a positive x squared plus 4x and now minus 60. Right? So all factoring out a -1 does is change the sign of all three terms. And now we have a trinomial where the leading term, our squared term, is positive. So now let's go ahead and factor like we've been doing. So we'll go ahead and split this trinomial into two binomials, so two empty sets of parentheses. We're working with an x, so let's go ahead and fill in our x at the beginning of our sets of parentheses. And now we're looking for factors of 60 that subtract to give us a positive 4. Well, you could go ahead and you could list all of the factors of 60, so 1 and 60, 2 and 30, so on and so forth. But eventually you'll get to 6 and 10, and those are the factors we're going to work with. So we're going to work with a 10 and a 6, and we want to subtract in some combination this 6 and 10 in order to get a positive 4. Well, if we want to subtract, then we're probably going to be looking for a positive 10 because positive 10 and now minus 6 gives us a positive 4, right? So positive 10 times negative 6 gives us the negative 60, which is what we're looking for, and positive 10 minus 6 gives us positive 4. So there we have our factor trinomial for number 22. All right, 23, let's go ahead and take a look at. We have 6x squared plus 17x plus 12. And now number 23, you'll notice, is the very first question when factoring trinomials where the leading coefficient is something other than 1. So here we have a 6. So now we're really going to be using, in this case, the scissors method. This is where you would be using your AC method, your trial and error method. But again, like I said, I'm going to probably primarily stick with the scissors method. And the scissors method says, go ahead and take your factors of the leading coefficient, so in this case 6, and we're going to go ahead and then take the factors of your constant, and so 12, and I put mine into a little chart, and now we're going to list our factors of 6 and list our factors of 12. So we have 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and then for factors of 12 we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. And the scissors method says that you really should start with the factors that are closest together, and 95% of the time, if you start with the factors that are closest together, you will end up with an appropriate matching set. And so with scissors, what we're going to do is we're going to take the factors of 6 and stack them. So there's our 2, there's our 3, and then we're going to take our factors of 12 and stack them. So there's 3, there's 4. And if this combination, 3 and 4, doesn't work, we'll go ahead and flip it and try 4 and 3. And now what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and cross multiply. And the reason that it's called scissors is because you can kind of create a little pair of scissors here. And so what we do is we cross multiply, as I said. So 2 times 4 gives us 8. 3 times 3 gives us 9. And now we want to ask, can we in some combination add 9 and 8 together to get a positive 17? Well, the answer is yes. We can certainly add 9 and 8 together to get a positive 17. Well, what does the sign of each of my cross products have to be in order to get a positive 17 if I'm adding? Well, this has to be a plus 9, and this has to be a plus 8, right? Positive 9 plus a positive 8 gives us a positive 17. And then whatever sign you put with the cross product is going to just bounce over. So we put a plus with the 9, so that plus bounces over. We put a plus with our 8, so that positive, that plus bounces over. And now we're going to go ahead and group the factors we were working with. So we have now over here, we had 2, and now we're going to put in our x, because that's the variable we're working with, plus 3, and then here we had 3, don't forget to put in your variable x, plus 4, and so now that we have our factors, you can go ahead and write them next to each other if you'd like. So 2x plus 3, and now 3x plus 4, and if you were to FOIL those out together, you would wind back at the start, at the original expression we started with. All right, if this is the first time you're seeing the scissors method, go ahead and watch a couple of additional videos from the practice test here, and I think you will start to see that it is going to pick up speed. You will be able to do this much more quickly, and it's going to be, like I said, I think in the introduction video, that the scissors method you'll find is not only quicker, but a lot more accurate than maybe some of the other methods that you can try. All right, so there we have it, number 22 and 23. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next, I think probably 24 and 25 in our next video.